guys, welcome back to my channel, Elke Life, and today I have a very special video for all of you. I am back in LA. I'm back home. As you know, or some of you know, I went to Germany over the holidays and I took my daughter for the very first time to Germany. She's 9 years old. My daughter's 9 years old. I haven't been in Germany in a very long time for many different reasons, personal reasons, but also because I hate that flight. It's just way too long for me. So anyways, it took me a very long time to decide that I want to go back. And also I'm not the biggest fan of Germany. That's why I live here in the United States. There's a lot of things that I do love about Germany, such as the architecture and the food, and summertime is awesome in Germany. Wintertime, not so much. But anyway, so I decided to go in winter over the holidays to go and visit my family, who I also have not seen in a very long time. My grandmother I haven't seen in maybe 18 years. I know some of you are very close to your family and could not imagine. I'm not that person. I love my family, but I'm very independent. I don't mind being alone for long periods of time. I'm not that close with my family. I love them dearly, and especially my grandmother. I love my grandmother. I love my dad, and so it was just it was just time for me to go. It was time to reconnect. And it definitely was time to take my daughter for the very first time to Germany, not only to see where, one half of her is coming from, but also to introduce her to my family and to have my family meet her. We have, of course, FaceTime many times with my parents and, my grandmother and my sister, of course, who I'm always in touch with. So, but it was just cool to just go and have them all meet and, catch up and get to know each other. So we went over the holidays, and on my to-do list of my trip, of course, was to go to eat certain kind of food and to go and see all of the places that I have lived, the places that I've grew up, my first apartment, my second apartment in Frankfurt, where I was born, where I went to high school, and I was like in a twilight zone. It was like surreal, but like in a good way, to go to those places that I haven't been, in years, in very long time, in like 15 years. And not only to go back, but to take my kid there, my daughter, to go to those places where I was a kid, or I was a teenager, where I was 5 years old, where I was 10 years old. But to go there and to have my child with me, it was crazy. Like it was like almost like a dream in a weird way. I don't know how to explain it, but it was just, I'm glad that I went. Am I going to go back anytime soon? Probably not. Though I want to go back a lot more often to see my family and to be, more in touch with them and be closer with them. So I definitely will make an effort to go back, maybe once a year or so. Sorry, look who decided to come and say hi. Hi, Rabbit. Isn't she cute? Hi, Mimi. Her name is Mimi. She doesn't like to get picked up. I think in general, rabbits don't like to get picked up because there are prey animals. So they think when they get picked up, they're going to be taken away by some eagle and eaten. But I would never eat her. She's so cute. Look at her fluffy paws. I love you, Mimi. Say hi. Hi, everybody. Okay. Yeah, she don't like to get picked up, so I'm gonna let her go. But she runs around in my living room, Oof, all the hair. Okay, say bye, Mimi. Mwah. Okay, there she goes. Bye-bye. So anyways, where was I? Yeah, so I took my daughter, to all the places that I've used to live. And it was really cool. And I took her to one of the places that I used to hang out as a teenager when I was, 13, 14, 15. We used to go to this Italian gelato place, and it's still there. It's like mind-blowing. The same exact place. I mean, the only thing has changed, they They did put a roof over the patio, so now it's enclosed. And the inside, the chairs and the tables are different. But other than that, the same. Like, the ice cream is the same, everything's the same. So it was just kind of crazy to, like, be there. And of course, I took video of the places that I went to and just wanted to show you guys, where I came from. So here you go. The first place that I'm showing you guys is where I was living when East Germany and West Germany was separated, back in the days. And I lived there from when I was a year old till I was about maybe six years old, maybe. I don't remember exactly, 5 or 6. And we actually escaped to West Germany before the wall came down. So, but this was the house. And the crazy thing is, going back there, it felt really good. I went to all of the places, of course, that I lived, and that place, for some reason, gave me the best feeling. It's very quiet, a tiny, tiny little, town. I don't know if you can pronounce it. I can pronounce it, of course, and the name is Lützschena. It's a small part of Leipzig. It belongs now to Leipzig. Back in the days, it was its own city, even though it's not a city, it's really like less than a town. And anyways, and they had an old brewery right there where I lived, right across the street from where we lived. And I loved that neighborhood. And, we played and ran around, from 9 o'clock in the morning till 8 o'clock at night. We were just out and about as kids. There was no worries, no crime. So it was a good place to be a kid. I had a lot of friends and we would play in the backyard. So that's the place that I lived when I was, a kid, with my mom, my dad, my sister. And we had chickens, we had pigeons, we had a whole chicken coop full of chicken coop full of animals. I remember like it was yesterday. So this was the first place that I lived. So here we are at my house. I lived here in Germany from when I was 1 year old till I was 5 years old. So for the first 5 years of my life, this was my home. Pretty crazy to be here, actually. That was it. That's where I grew up. This is the back of my building, and we used to have chickens back there, a chicken coop, and this is where we used to play. And now I brought my daughter here. It's kind of crazy. This is like a little backyard area we used to play at. Pretty insane that I'm here after like, I don't know, 20 years. So the second place that I'm showing you guys is where I lived when we came from East Germany to West Germany. Like I mentioned before, we escaped before the wall came down, and we lived for a little while in a home for refugees for about probably like 6 months in Gießen, which is a city in Germany. And after that, my dad was looking for for jobs, and he found a job as a caretaker and a groundskeeper of a evangelistic church, a Protestant church in the city called Kelkheim. Kelkheim is a small town outside of Frankfurt. So that's where I used to live. And this place that I'm showing you now was a big house that belonged to the church. And there was an apartment upstairs that we lived in. Downstairs, they used for meeting rooms and, Bible study and, stuff like that. And that's where I lived from when I was about 6 till I was about maybe 13 or so. And yeah, this area was very nice. Everything was, closed, you could walk to. And you could actually walk to my kindergarten, which is the next place on the list. And so, yeah. Okay, so this is the house that I used to live in from when I was 7 till about maybe 13 or so. This was the house. Isn't it beautiful? So the next place is my kindergarten. Again, it was right around the corner from the first place that we lived in Kelkheim. And I could walk there, and it's crazy just to like go back to my kindergarten. Okay, so this is my kindergarten where I used to come, you know, when I was a child, and it's called Noah's Ark. It's kind of crazy, you know, being back here now, but it still looks exactly the same. So the next place that I'm showing you guys is my high school that I used to also walk to, not far from, you know, my places that I used to live. So it's kind of crazy just being back at my high school and being there with my daughter. You know, that's where I used to go to as a kid, and it's a huge school, and it looks exactly the same, like nothing has changed. It's kind of crazy in a way. Okay, so this is my high school and my daughter. It's so crazy, like just being here. It's a big campus, but this is where I used to go to school. This is the back entrance though. There's a front entrance, but I always used to come this way. So the next place that I am taking you guys is the second place in Kelkheim that I lived. After we lived in that, you know, beautiful house, we actually moved into the church. At the time, the church was old. They tore it down and they built a new one in its place, a more modern church, and they built a little apartment, you know, inside of the church. And that was the apartment for the groundskeeper, which was my dad. And that's where I lived when I was a teenager, from when I was, you know, like 13 till I moved out when I was like 17. Or maybe 12 to 17. I don't remember exactly. And so, yeah, we lived inside of a church. You can see my window in the pictures. And the church looked exactly the same. Nothing has changed. And again, you know, being there with my daughter was just surreal. So it was a really cool experience to like go to all of these places. So this is the church that I used to live in. My dad used to work in the church, and there is an apartment up there, and that was my room right there. That was my room. And I used to live here from when I was about 11 till about 17 or 18. So this is where I was here when I was a teenager. This was my home. So I lived in a church. Yes, I did. So I am still taking you guys, you know, to all the places that I lived. And so this place, the next one, is my very first own apartment that my parents decided when I was 16, 17 that they wanted to move away from Germany. They decided they wanted to move to Costa Rica, which they did. And at the time, you know, I was still in school. I was finishing up. My sister was still in school. And so my mom decided to get me a teeny tiny, you know, single apartment in Frankfurt to be closer to the couple of jobs that I was holding at the time. And she basically said, okay, you're 17, you know, you can kind of like going to be on your own now because we're going to move away. One of the reasons I'm not so close with my mom, but, you know, that's another story for another YouTube video at some point if I decide to talk about. And so my mom and my dad decided they would give me or get me that apartment and pay the rent for a year in advance, you know, just to kind of like get me started. And then after that year, they figured, well, you know, I'm going to have to be on my own. So whatever. And so this next place, that was, you know, my very first apartment in Frankfurt that I had. And I was living real close to my first job. You know, my first job, I was working at this brokerage firm. And as you can see in the video. All right, guys, so here we are in Frankfurt, and this was my very first apartment when I was 17 in Frankfurt, right here. See this balcony right here? That was my place. So this is where I lived, and right behind the tall building, that was one of my first jobs. I was working for a French bank, and I was in that building, so I could just walk to work. So this is it. So the last place that I'm taking you guys is my second apartment and my last apartment in Germany before myself moving away from Germany. And that place I did not have for very long, maybe less than a year, because I got the place just because I wanted to live in a different neighborhood of Frankfurt, a more, a little fancier and a little bit more beautiful. And the building was really beautiful because it's a historical building. They can't touch it, they can't renovate it, they can't tear it down. And it's very close to the Dome. They call it the Romer Platz, and it's like this big place in Frankfurt, and there's like this big church, and there's a lot of tourists go there to visit. So, and it's close to shopping. It's close to the main shopping area called Zeil, which is also in Germany. I'm pronouncing it in English, but in German it would be Zeil. And so I lived very close to there. And yeah, I took my daughter to that place as well. And I really, really loved that apartment. But again, I didn't have it long because I decided to give it up and, move to Costa Rica with my parents for a little while before coming to the United States. Okay, so now we are at my second apartment that I had when I lived in Frankfurt right before I moved to Costa Rica. It's in that beautiful building up there, that balcony. That was my second place when I lived here. It's beautiful. Like, this is like a really beautiful part of the city. So yeah, this is where I used to live. So those are the places that I went to go visit. Those are the places I took my daughter to. And I hope you guys enjoyed it and, got a little insight of, me and where I lived. And I'm glad I went. And I'm glad I saw my family. I saw my grandmother. I saw my sister. And in a way, it was time. And it was good timing because 2 days after I visited my grandparents, my grandfather passed away. He was very, very sick and he was in the hospital. So I'm glad that I made it. And I made it to go to the hospital. And he, saw me and he recognized me. And he met my daughter. And yeah, 2 days later, he passed away. So, but I know he's in a better place now because he was very sick. And I'm sure he's, watching over us. So anyways, thank you guys for watching. This is a very, personal video, and I hope that you guys enjoyed it. And, till next time, you guys know I will be posting more videos and reviews and, other things. And it's 2019, so let's all have a fabulous year. And I wish you all the best. Bye.